Hello and welcome back to another video here in Basel, where I have been watching the semi-finals for Eurovision 2025. Not just the semi-finals though, but the dress rehearsals. And that means I get a little bit of a behind the scenes for what's happening in the semi-finals before they actually go on television. And I want today to tell you all about the semi-final number 2, which I've just seen in Basel, and I have so many things to talk about. The main thing that I want to do today is talk about my top 5 choices and my top 5 songs that I think should definitely go through to the grand final on Saturday, and just give you my reasons why, because it was such a fantastic show and I feel like semi-final 2 has so many strong songs. It's going to be a difficult one, and that's the way that it goes with these things, because the semi-final orders are obviously drawn at random. It means that we end up having sometimes some really good songs against other really good songs and not knowing what's going to happen. How is the vote going to go? But I feel pretty sure in my choices, and if you haven't seen my semi-final 1 reaction video yet to the dress rehearsal, and I kind of had my predictions in there as well, then I'll leave a link for that below. Obviously semi-final 1 has already aired, so we do know what the result is now, and I'm very happy with that result, and I can't wait to see especially my top 5 choices from that show in Saturday's final. But let's get back to semi-final number 2, and here are my top 5 choices from semi-final 2, the dress rehearsal. First up, we have JJ with Wasted Love. I feel like it's no surprise this seems to be a particular favourite this year, but when I tell you that live, this just takes it to another planet, can we say? I'm not lying, this is a fantastic entry. There's something so magical about JJ's vocals, and when he goes into that operatic zone, that sets this apart from every other song. It's so beautiful, such a stunning vocal. And the drama that's built into the onstage set, I think, is fantastic. So for me, this is a definite must go through to the final. And actually, I should say, I feel like this might get the jury winner's vote. This could be the one that clinches that. So let's see what happens. But that is a prediction from me to you, to Eurovision. Next up, Finland with Ich Komme. I feel like this is a fantastic performance. There's something just so fun and mad about this performance, and I love the energy that Erica brings to the stage. She's marching around, she's giving it her all, but at the same time we still have those super strong vocals, and the song is so catchy. This song is incredible, and I think staging wise, because there's so much movement, there's so much going on, there's so much to look at, it just gives it that extra level, that extra layer of intrigue and fun on stage, and it's just bringing the energy. So for me, this is definitely a top 5 pick. I also want to say as well about the 2 songs that we've just spoken about, and actually about a couple of the others that we'll speak about today. The endings are really key. The endings are what are grabbing me in a different way as well. Obviously, there's the actual constructions of the songs and the way they build and lift at certain points, but the drama of the endings, I think, is tying the performances together. And when you see that live, when you see that in a live situation, it just gives it that extra something. And for me, it's really important with a Eurovision song that it carries all the way through, that you have that kind of build, that dynamic movement within the song, and everything ties together within the visual and the vocal, and what's happening on stage has to match what's going on vocally. And yeah, there's just got to be that balance. So I think what's interesting is that everything builds towards the endings of these 2 songs in particular, and it just gives it that extra edge. So yeah, some extra thoughts there on what helps lift a Eurovision song into potentially the final. Okay, next up is a choice that when I'm looking at the odds at the moment, I'm not sure what's going to happen with this, but I have to say that live, it takes it to another level because of the vocal. And I am talking about Sissal and her song Hallucination, Sissal being from Denmark. So this is Denmark's entry, and for me in a live situation, this song, it has something of a Loreen type effect, I think. And so what I really suspect is the vocal and the way, again, the dynamics build within this in a live situation This could be a dark horse that comes through into our final because it's just so good live. Her vocal is so strong, so powerful, and not just in the chorus, in the kind of final bits where you have those big notes and you expect it to be like that, but the verse is cut through as well. And I always think that that's a particularly difficult thing, especially with a lower vocal in a verse. So the fact that the whole of her vocal, just from start to finish, is so punchy and powerful. Live, this is incredible, and I am telling you, this is a dark horse, and this could potentially be something that does really, really well this year with Eurovision. I really hope it does, because it's such a strong song and a strong performance. Okay, next choice for me in my top 5 is the Czech entry. This is such a great song, Kiss Kiss Goodbye. Again, it kind of follows a similar vibe in terms of the dynamic build. Towards the end, obviously, there's the change within the momentum of the song, and I think the additional dancing, and I think just the overall strong vocal within this, because it translates from that recorded version into this live situation, which, you know, I had no idea, having only seen the music video, what was going to occur in a live situation. You can never tell vocally what will happen, but this translates really well, a really beautiful tone. And there's just something special about this song. Again, the operatic element towards the end. We have some similarities here in a way with the Austrian entry because of that classical element change, but two very different songs. I just think that this stands out, and it has some unique dance moves and some great on-stage lighting, and the overall vibe is really, really cool in a live setting. So for me, this is a top 5 choice. Before I tell you my final choice from my top 5, I have to give you some special mentions. 2 songs that also kind of spoke to me during the dress rehearsal that I thought were quite special, and I hope that they do go through. Obviously, it's so cutthroat. I've given myself this job of choosing 5 songs instead of 7, but I do have 2 special mentions, 2 honourable mentions, and the first of those is Laura Thorne with Le Poupée Le Sang, which is Luxembourg's entry, and this is a really great one live. Visually, it's fantastic. Obviously, she's going for that doll-like theme, and the movements and the way that there's just so much going on stage. I think it's a spectacle. And she's also a really great vocalist. You know, if you consider the energy that's going into her performance here and the constant movement around the stage, the constant dancing and all of that, if you think about breath control and everything that goes into your vocal whilst you're moving, it's just a totally different thing compared to standing still and singing. So I really want to give Luxembourg's entry its credit where credit is due, because it's a fantastically catchy song, and live it also just translates really, really well. So hopefully Luxembourg will be going through to the final. And my second special mention goes to Latvia's entry. This is like being in a magical Eurovision fairy forest, and I wasn't sure how this was going to translate into a live setting. I have seen a live version of this online, and so I sort of knew what to expect, but I didn't know when it was actually in that live situation, you know, hearing it within the arena setting, what would happen. But it was just magical. I think because there's lots of vocalists on stage, all the ladies giving it their all in terms of harmonies and the layers, the build of this whole thing. It's really lovely, and because they have such gorgeous vocal tones, that comes across really well in a live setting as well. So I don't know what the difference is going to be between being in the arena and listening to it and then listening to it on the television. There's always that change in balance, that change in reception, I think. So, you know, I felt that from having sat in the arena watching the dress rehearsal for semi-final 1 and then seeing that on the television. So I feel like the same thing will happen again when I'm watching the second semi-final, compared to what I've just seen in the dress rehearsal to it being on television. So how this will translate, I don't know, but I just feel like it has so many magical, mystical qualities, and it's a beautifully arranged song. So I'm really looking forward to seeing it. Just had to have that as a special mention too. And then my final choice from my top 5 is Australia with Gojo and Milkshake Man. I'm sure this comes as no surprise as well. It's a fantastically written song. Actually, even if this all went wrong, or he was on stage and not much was happening, or it didn't feel very energetic, or whatever you were expecting visually, because there's something about the song and the way this song is written and the chords, the bassiness of that coming through in a live setting, just the whole thing of this one speaks to me in a special kind of way. It scratches a musical itch because of the chord sequence. So I love this regardless of what's going on live. So maybe I'm biased in that way, but this song is just infectious in all the right ways, and it has to go through to the final. My prediction is that it will go through to the final. I would love that for Australia as well. And it feels like just one of those songs that people are going to listen to and enjoy when they're first listening to it. So if you had never heard this song before and you saw it for the first time at the semi-final, I think you would say, this is fun, I'm voting for this. And I felt that within the arena watching at the dress rehearsal today. So for me, this has to be a top 5 choice. So there we have it, my top 5 choices and 2 special mentions, and my predictions for what will go through into the final on Saturday night. I would love to hear your thoughts on which songs you think are going to do well at semi-final number 2. Do you have a list? Do you have a top 10 that you think are going to go straight through to that final? Let me know in the comments box down below, and let me know if you agree with my choices, and if you feel like there's a particular song that is a standout for you, let me know that as well. And I will be continuing my Eurovision content all this week on the channel, so do check it out here and also over on my TikTok page and on Patreon as well. And I'll see you on another video for Eurovision 2025 very, very soon. Have a great rest of your day, love you. Bye.